Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? My name is Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to be honouring the presence and the beautiful energy of Mary Magdalene. On the 22nd of July every year, it is the feast day of Mary Magdalene. And you know what? As I was sitting down to create this video for you today, I actually just had a moment marvelling at how awesome it is that Mary is so prominently featured in the Gospels at all. Now, we know, of course, there is much more to Mary than is in the Gospels of the New Testament. But for a moment, rather than just focusing on what maybe we haven't been told over the last 2,000 years and what is to be revealed, can we just spend a moment thinking about how extraordinary her power must have been for the fact that she wasn't written out completely, and the importance of her role, which even the Gospel writers 2,000 years ago still felt as though they had to honour. So where we are at now is in an unravelling and a revealing of more and more of who she was, and as I always say, who she is, because we can get very stuck in the historical energy and facts of different beings that we're looking at, historical figures. But what Archangel Metatron has always taught me, who's one of my main guides, is that that is all well and good and relevant and important, but it is what now can be brought to the table by any energy that you are aligning with, connecting with, and wanting to be in the presence of. What can they do for you now? So that's going to be the focus of this video. Less about the historical Mary Magdalene, more about the alive and very present Magdalene energy, which is here living within many of us, but also exists as a powerful energy that we can connect with, align to, and however you want to be viewing her, whether as an internal flame and presence, or whether an external energy that you communicate with, link to, connect with, it really doesn't matter to her. What matters is that we honour all that she can bring into our lives and why she is important today. It's interesting that as I'm making this video on a Sunday, that I think it's the 19th, let me just double check, it's the 20th of July actually, as I'm making this video. It's the first day where I live that the intense heat and drought might be putting it a little bit too grandly, but we've had a spell of very dry, hot, arid, humid weather, unusual for my part of the world. And today we have the rains sweeping in. The gardens are literally in a state of euphoria, just drinking in the moisture and the needed nourishment from the water. And we know, of course, that the energy of Jesus and Mary is very much linked into the energy of the waters, also Mother Mary. Those of you that have followed me for a while will know that I've often referred to Mother Mary as the harbour, the safe harbour. So when we go through difficult periods in our life, or maybe we're going through an easy period in our life, it's about the energy of her being this harbour point that we can come back to be replenished by, to be recharged by, to just sit with. But today, because it feels very stormy, I'm reminded of the energy of Mary being the one that was right in the centre of the storm. She was right in the centre of the storm 2,000 years ago with regards to all of the occurrences with the life of Jesus, his death, his resurrection, whether you believe she had a life with him thereafter or not. We're going to park for this video just because I want to focus on the energy that she is bringing today to you. So she's representing the energy of the storm itself, being the calm in the eye of the storm, and that deep feminine wisdom that will reassure you that all is well. So she comes in with the energy of the reviver, the restorer, the replenisher, in the same way that Mother Mary does, but just in a slightly different variation, tone, and frequency. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. There also feels as though there's an energy of surrender with her today. And I am going to go into a channeling in a moment with her. But for now, just trying to encapsulate some of the energies that I'm feeling as I'm sitting here in the energy with her. The energy of surrender. I feel as though we're in a world right now which feels very overwhelmed. You yourself might be feeling overwhelmed in however that is playing out in your life, whether it is a tsunami of grief and loss that you have been experiencing and are still in the middle of, whether it is just a relentlessness of material pressures with regards to trying to keep your head above the water, is the saying, isn't there? With regards to, I don't know, unpaid bills or errands to attend to, jobs, responsibilities, duties. Of course, Mary Magdalene is for everybody. She is for men, for women, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, which we have within ourselves. But there is a strong pull often with women who turn to her for guidance with regards to sometimes the overwhelming duties of the maternal role in all of its stages, from babe in arms to growing infant to the child that flies the nest, etc. And then actually we could also add another age, which is the age that women often have to step into, not exclusively, men do as well, where we have to care for maybe aging parents and they become more like the child and we have to become a more parental type energy for them. So there's a lot of overwhelm, and she's definitely bringing in an energy of surrender. I did pull a few cards off camera and I will show you a couple of them, and surrender was one of the cards that came up. Okay, so this is the card of surrender. I'm sorry to have to cover up the part of the body there, but we play by the rules here on YouTube because there's something in that with regards to what I just did, and because she's saying, for our voices to be heard, whether it was 2,000 years ago or whether it is now, we still have to acknowledge the society and the structures that are in place. It doesn't mean that we can't rebel against them, but she's showing me a more underground movement, which is powerful and can actually bring the change. So she's saying, rather than rally all the time against surface level dramas, going into a tailspin, for example, with regards to why I can't show you the full extent of the picture on this card, she's saying work on the roots of the problem, and the roots of the problem are the fact that society is still at some level scared of the power of the feminine body, of her nakedness. And she's taking me back to Adam and Eve and the threat of the power of the feminine body that can both that can give life, that can nourish life through breasts, etc., through which the blood flows every month, and just the power of it, the potency of it, being something that is very threatening to societal structures. And so art can be an amazing way to honour the feminine form, but it's do it in places where it's going to be honoured and cherished. Okay, don't want to get too far more into that message, but that was just something that came through there on the feminine body. Because the other card you see that came up, and I knew it would, and I have done workshops on Mary Magdalene, and I will try and put it up as an online product soon, because realistically I'm not going to be touring the world doing Mary Magdalene workshops, so I'll get it up online. It's only a short little workshop, but I talked about the energy of this, the energy of saint and sinner. And of course Mary herself was regarded as the sinner, the prostitute. It's how the church first identified her. And then centuries later, of course, one of the popes came out and revoked that and said she never was. But it's almost as though once you're tarred with a particular brush, then that sticks, the stain sticks. And for an example of somebody who is the epitome of the divine feminine, to be tarred with being a prostitute tars all of us. And she's saying the stain of that is still very much smeared across women of the world. Okay, so what we can do about it is to just continue to gather our strength, but also to do that we need to be surrendering. We need to be noting that these are turbulent times, difficult times, and that we can't fight back, even if it's fighting back with love, if we are not feeling strong. So more than anything, her feast day this year on the 22nd of July feels as though it is a very important portal, for want of a better word, for you to be honouring the divine feminine within yourself. And if you're a masculine watching this, maybe there's a way that you can honour the divine feminine in your life, which doesn't just include your partner, for example, if you have a female partner, or if you have a male partner, honouring the feminine in them, but also honouring your mother, honouring daughters, just honouring also feminine principles. And what are these feminine principles? So feminine principles, not exclusively, of course, but I know men can have these as well, but feminine principles tend to be things such as it's interesting, I'm stumbling over what they are, because they don't feel as though they're top of mind a lot of the time, because we live in this masculine world, which is go, 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 very driven, very motivated, very action orientated, whereas the feminine energy is softer, is more about receiving, it's receptive, it is about surrender, but it's about acquiring that strength. And as she often does with me, she shows me the monthly cycle with women, and it's this thing about the body's ability, and the body shows via the cycle what we need to be doing, which is periods of recharge, periods of discharge, for want of a better word. It's very much linked into the energy of the moon, the ebb and the flow of the tide, knowing when to pull back for a beautiful wave to come, into existence. But that big wave of action, that big wave of change, that big wave of love, whatever it is, comes into greater force when we pull back. And pulling back isn't a weakness. Pulling back is about just that natural rhythm of, if we want to give out from our heart and show who we are as divine feminine, we must have times where we draw back, regain our strength, so we can then flow back out. And again, it's just sort of very much aligned with the feminine body as well. So that was one card. I've also got this card which does say replenish and recharge. Okay. I do rather like this deck, I have to say, this one in particular, which is the Mystique of Magdalene, and it is by Cheryl Yambrach Rose, who has got a number of decks that I really think are beautiful, actually. And I love the depiction on the back of each deck of Mary on this particular deck as well. But yeah, we have the energy of replenish and recharge. I also like this image of her. It says, listen to elder wisdom. Again, from the same deck. Listen to elder women. And she's showing me now the energy of women sitting in circle, listening to each other's stories, listening to each other's heritage. And I will share something quite personal that I'm a bit blown away with. Happened last night in dream state. But it wasn't really a dream. I think it was a visitation. But it wasn't the type of visitation I've normally had. I think it was Mary, because it's about the feminine line, the feminine ancestral line, because Mary very much helps us with that. Helps us to honour the elders in our ancestral line, as well as the youngsters in it too, but the past, the present and the future. So in this dream stroke, vision stroke, I don't know what to call it, because I did see something. I didn't see her. I'll tell you what it was. In my dream, I had headphones on, and there was a voice coming through the headphones, which was feminine, so I believe it was her. And it was referencing my own mother, who I do have a difficult relationship with, is still alive, but is a master teacher in my life. But more, bless her, how not to do life. That's why I call her a master teacher. But it's a very difficult relationship. She's getting older now, much more needy. I struggle with it. And I heard this voice say, and the voice was crying as they were talking to me. They were saying, have you any idea how hard it is for your mother to have incarnated? And I got the impression that wherever my mum had come from, whatever frequency she was at pre-incarnation, it had been one hell of a job to effectively lower herself enough dimensionally and frequency-wise to incarnate back into Earth, into the body that she's got now, to give birth to me, for example. And so this voice was crying, but it was more about the emotion behind it, which was, do you understand how difficult it was for her to incarnate in the first place? And in the that moment in the dream, it was like a thunderbolt realization. I thought, oh my God, yes, I get it. However difficult she is, however difficult she is, whatever state she's in now, which is bad in terms of health and decline and all the rest of it. Yes, I can see that. I can see what a gift that was that she came in to birth me. And then in my dream state, I thought, where is this headphone plugged into? Where's the voice coming from? And so I looked for the end of the lead, and I realised it wasn't plugged into anything. It wasn't plugged into a radio. It wasn't plugged into a CD player. It wasn't plugged into anything. There was nothing at the end of the line. It was just the voice was coming through the headphones. So I'm telling you this because I feel somehow it's linked into maybe the gift that Mary is bringing to us this year on the 22nd, feast day. Maybe, like me, some type of revelation with regards to... In fact, there is a card of revelation on the bottom of this deck, I think. Let me see. Yeah. The truth is revealed. Look at that. The truth is revealed, revelation. So thinking about maybe somebody within your family line who you have struggled with, but at soul contract level is there, of course, to teach you something. You can't do your mission without them. You might sometimes feel as though your mission would be a lot easier if they weren't around, or somehow were just magically not that version of the person they are. But you realise that it's all perfect in the grand scheme of things. Now, of course, I've known this before with regards to my own mother for years, but there was something about the way it came through last night and the crying. It wasn't like a crying hysterical voice. It was tears of just absolute deep deep honouring of this soul that came in to birth me, for example. So that is extraordinary, and I wish the same for you, that through the headphones that Mary may put on over the next few days, you might be able to receive something that helps you to navigate your life right now, yeah? For some truth to be revealed. Card number 44. A very high angelic frequency as well. So, at this point, I think before I go into channeling, I want to read you something else. So sitting beside my bed is a book that one of you sent me, I think. It's a Donna Ashworth book of poems. It caught my eye this morning. And I realised that the book is called To the Women, Wise Words Every Woman Needs, Donna Ashworth. So I thought, okay, I wonder if there's a poem in here for us to start off our honouring of Mary Magdalene. And I opened it at page, if you've got the book, it's page 162. And I'm going to read you, it's a short poem. And I don't know whether this is written, I think it probably is written more for somebody maybe that you've loved and lost. But I felt as though it was more an ode to your relationship with Mary. The fact that you might have once maybe felt a connection with her and now don't feel it as strongly, but she is still there. Or whether this is a poem that somehow is going to just ignite the flame within you that realises that she's actually the lantern within your soul. So, let's read it. It's called A Lantern for Your Soul. And it reminds me of the song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm Going to Make It Shine. But it's got slightly different words. So, A Lantern for Your Soul. So let's just bring in Mary's energy as I'm reading this, actually. I'm going to spray the aura spray, which we've dedicated to her, which is, it just simply says, Mary Magdalene, Divine Feminine. It's got a combination of tuberose, yang yang, patchouli, jasmine and benzoin. It's beautiful. I've also got a candle burning for her. So let's just welcome Mary's energy in with this poem. I made a little lantern the day your lungs drew breath. I sparked a bright eternal flame and set it in our nest. I let that little lantern shine on every move you made. It washed our worlds with nurture. It grew you where you laid. And as you grew, I grew with you, and the lantern kept alight. It warmed our days and often saved our souls in deepest night. And when you flew, deep down I knew the lantern must go too, to light your way through storm and rage. It's glowing, emboldening you. I didn't need this light, you see. All mothers know this truth. My soul is fed each time you tread the path your heart's drawn to. So keep our little lantern safe and never dim its shine. Your worth is fuel, your heart a jewel. Know this and you'll be fine. The light I made, the love I gave will burn forevermore. And when you cannot see that fire, dig deep a little more. I think that's really beautiful, and I think it's also mothering. It's very mothering and nurturing in nature. And a bit like I said at the beginning with regards to the fact that Mary Magdalene was tarred as being this prostitute, and that stain is sort of still upon us all, and, you know, we're trying to scrub it clean and purify that stain. But it's also by our actions that we do that. So do we present ourselves as being pure or not? Do we present ourselves as being love or not? That's a question we maybe need to ask ourselves sometimes. But back to the mothering thing, I personally do believe that she was a mother. I do believe that, and I have said this in previous videos, I didn't really want to get back into the historical aspect, but I will just say it now because it's pertinent to what I want to bring through. What I channeled before is that when Jesus was brought down from the cross, he was, by all exceptions, pretty much half dead. And in the tomb, he was nursed by Mary Magdalene as the primary caregiver to him and healer, with other sisters that joined her. I can't remember whether I said Mother Mary was there. It would make sense, but I'm not going back into it now. But certainly Mary Magdalene was there, nursed him back into life. And yes, I believe that they went on and had a wider ministry. So, and I suspect that I don't suspect, I feel and I know that there was a bloodline that was continued. So the point being made here, you don't have to agree with anything I've just said, by the way. The point, though, is that she holds the energy of the mother in the same way that Mother Mary holds the energy of the mother. But I just feel there's a different nuance with Mary Magdalene in terms of the mothering template. And it is nuanced, it is subtle, but she comes, and maybe this is just the way it's been portrayed down the years. You know, none of us can get completely away from 2,000 years of indoctrination, because don't forget, we've lived lifetimes where we've been indoctrinated over many lifetimes. So what I'm trying to get at is that the perception out there through the years, Mother Mary, Virgin Mother Mary, saintly, virginal, all the rest of it, safe harbour, versus Mary Magdalene as a mother. She's coming through more as like this tigress, like a tiger, like a lion, like a lioness type energy. And it's the fact that together they seem to hold the template of the complete template of mothering, that they both blend beautifully with each other. And I'm being shown the Vesica Pisces symbol, which in my own Christ consciousness deck is there as a symbol of sacred union. So I did give a nod to it in my deck in terms of what I truly felt what happened with Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I'll just get the card out now. It's the card of, I think I called it Sacred Union. But I'm seeing the Vesica Pisces now in a different way in terms of Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, and that third energy in the Vesica Pisces being the new way that we can mother. Here we go. Yeah, Holy Grail Sacred Union. So I did sort of say it. Those of you that read deeper into what I'm doing get what I'm about probably and what I'm really saying. So yeah, that Vesica Pisces symbol, I just feel as though one half is Mother Mary, one half can also be Mary Magdalene, and then this energy in the middle is something new. It's generational as well, she's saying. The way that we have been mothered and the way that we might mother now, but there's a new form of mothering to come in, which is not here yet, but is the culmination of all that we have been, all of the women in your family line who have been mothers, what has been learnt, what worked, what really didn't work, etc. And putting all of that into a beautiful melting pot, really, and coming out with a new recipe that does work. And And I guess for the new recipe to come out with all of the ingredients going into it, and if there were any negative ingredients that went in or negative experiences in the family line, they were transmuted before they put into the new blend. But it's all, you know, it's like if something bad has happened, it's what did you learn from that anyway? But there's a new, there's a new breed of mother effectively coming into being, and this is also linked into being able to carry the light of future generations, which is as every generation should be, growing in strength and intensity and luminosity. So that definitely feels like something for the future. But back to the present moment, I'm going to channel now and see what wants to come through. Okay, I think I will just draw one card from my own Christ Consciousness deck at this point. Obviously, this is a deck devoted to Christ Consciousness, but you can't have really the Christ Consciousness without the energy of all the players, which is why within this deck, for example, we've got not all the players, we've got some of the players. We've got to have Judas, we have to have Thomas, we have to have Peter, and it's because those qualities, how we respond to betrayal, what we do with denial, what we do with doubt, is a measure of whether we are living from the heart and whether we are standing in Christ consciousness. So too, of course, the feminine energies, the two Marys had to be in the deck, etc. So it feels as though any card that we could pull would be relevant. Okay, so I'm just seeing that on the bottom of the deck we've got the armour of God. So yeah, she wants me to talk about that before I go on. I've just split the deck and got the card of resurrection, embrace new life. Okay, so these two, armour of God and resurrection, in relation to Mary Magdalene's teaching. Let me just go into this. I'm just going to use the spray again because it does help me to connect. And it also helps, when I say it helps me connect, it also helps to raise your frequency if you use things such as aura sprays, in the same way that if you're holding a crystal, you're tuning into the vibration of that. If you're saying a prayer or a mantra, it's raising your vibration. So using sprays is a way to raise our vibration so we can meet the energy coming in, but also it helps the energy to come in and be with us. Okay, so all that being said, she wants me to spray it around my heart to allow that opening there. We had the armour of God, and we've got the energy of resurrection. So the first thing she's saying is that the resurrection energies right now, which relate into the arrival of just new energies generally. I mean, we can interpret it as being new earth, 5D earth, awakened earth, the golden age, whatever you want to call it. And of course, there are many milestones we need to get through to get to that point anyway. But she's saying resurrection moments, which can include the moments when you wake up each day. Waking each day is a resurrection moment from deep sleep. There is this energy of protecting ourselves. So let me just go into that, see what she wants to say about protection. So again, I'm just being shown the energy of a new frequency that wants to come into our earth, new light that wants to come into our earth. It feels as though it's... the only way I can describe it, I'm being shown the fetal position. So when we curl ourselves up into a ball and we go into a fetal position, and it's also, of course, the position we're in pre-birth in the womb. But this new energy in a fetal position, by nature, that is a guarded position. I'm also being shown like the rosebud before it blooms. I'm being shown the nautilus energy, the shell that goes inward, the spiral inward. And there's something about the point at the centre of the spiral, all of the other layers protecting that point in the centre, which is potent and so strong and is starting to ripple out into our world. So, number one, can we please drop the fear and the anxiety around the fact that we don't get there, we can't get there? The energies that this earth needs and the frequency that we are moving into is assured and will happen because it is guarded by so many layers. I'm now being shown like a fort with guards, literally like not just guards. It's almost like moats and corridors and high ramparts. And there's something here about the truth and love and purity and innocence being guarded, and it's to do with the attacks upon that. And into that kernel at the centre we could also put the heart of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the union, the sacred union, that whatever is going on out here, the storms, the raging seas, the disquiet, can hear the wind whipping up as I'm talking to you, the disquiet, the disharmony, the crashing of the boats onto shorelines. In the centre, all is calm. So there is something about coming back into the centre, coming back into the alignment of that central place, that refuge place, which exists within yourself, where you are safe. Because there are times that are coming which make us feel unsafe. They are already here, she's saying, because the human being likes to know what is happening, likes to know a particular course of events and how things are going to play out, doesn't like to not be in control, doesn't feel safe when you don't feel in control. Flow and surrender are difficult states of being for many to get into. But if we could just come back into that central place within ourselves, which is within our heart, that knows that all is well and that all is playing out as it's meant to, we will be guarded. It's interesting as Bella starts to bark, talking about guarding. You see, the thing about a dog is they're very territorial and they will guard their patch. So something here about Mary Magdalene coming in to guard your patch. So she's saying, call me in. Can you hear the lashing rain against my window? Wow. Can you hear that? I will guard your patch. Call her in to guard your home. Call her in to guard yourself as you go through extraordinary change and transformation and rebirth. And she says, I know it feels like rebirth after rebirth after rebirth at the moment. And she's showing me the energy of a being, which is basically us. And it feels as though we're tumbling through space. I'm just seeing this figure and it's like tumbling through space. And it's like, where is the ground? Where is the ground? Where do we land? And it's as though we don't quite know where we land. We're not meant to know exactly where we land. We're not meant to know all the details. We're just meant to trust this sort of like tumbling experience that we're going through. The tumbling down. How many times have I talked to you about the energy of the tower and the fact that we are in times of the tower and will continue to be in times of the tower for a while yet. Everything is falling away that is no longer required for a higher frequency of earth. And so as the tower tumbles, we are part of that tower. Sometimes we mistakenly see the tower as somehow separate from ourselves and that we are observing it. No, we are the tower because we are part of everything. We're part of the wind, we're part of the rain, we're part of the sun, we're part of the person we love, we're part of the person we hate. It's that whole energy of oneness. So as the tower falls, we can feel as though we are falling, we are tumbling, but she's saying, I've got you. I've got you. You are safe. Just stay true to that central point within yourself. So it feels more than anything that this spiritual protection, it's like Mary Magdalene is saying, I am the storm, but also I am the armour. And what she means by that is that her frequency is the armour. So let's feel into her frequency. Let's feel into her frequency, what her frequency is about. Mary Magdalene. Powerful, divine expression of what is true, of integrity, of knowingness. There's an energy of far-sightedness tied into knowingness. And what I mean by that is that somehow knowing that that far off horizon, even though the storm is raging outside, all will be well. So being able to ride out the storm, having the resourcefulness within, remembering that you have the tools that you need for the times that you came in with, that you didn't come in as some defenseless little soul. You came in as a soul that knew what was to occur with the qualities that you needed to get you through. But she's saying, if we take the energy of the tumbling, if we can just stay true to these inner qualities that we've got of resourcefulness, knowingness, strength, wisdom, love, no matter what, all will be well. We'll be fine. Wherever we land, we'll be fine. But if we get pulled by other winds of change which are coming in to drag us off course, it's a bit like the boat. It's the energy of the boat. It's very Christ-like as well, isn't it? It's like being in the boat in the middle of the storm. And if you just trust that you've set the coordinates to the right place, you'll get there at the time that you're meant to get there. If you allow other energies to come in and interfere with that navigation system, basically, which you have been given, you will be taken off course. That's why it's so important to try to not be so distracted by all of the dramas that are playing out the whole time out there, because they're taking you away from this inner resource that you've got to get you through these times. Okay, let's pull a couple more cards now and see if there's anything else that wants to come through in this particular session honouring Mary. Faith, find holiness within. Is this card from my own deck. And it talks about the fact that this woman, I don't believe that was Mary, there's a woman in the crowd who touched his cloak or touched him, and she knew that she would be healed if she was able to touch him. And he reminded her that she had the strength and the resource within herself to heal herself. So it's sort of confirming what I've just said, that if we can, look at that, if we can find holiness within, if we can hang on to that thread, whatever is happening, whatever is transpiring, however we're tumbling, all will be well. We have the navigation system within ourselves, which is holiness. Okay, let's now pull two more cards from the Magdalene decks, and let's start with this one, which is the Magdalene Oracle by Toni, Carmine, Salerno. And let's see what we get. So Mary Magdalene's feast date, 22nd of July, 2025. We've got the energy of the secret. The secret. I'm hearing that the answer has been within you all along. Everyone's looking for the key. Everyone's looking for the key, in terms of the answer. We've also got serendipity on the bottom of the deck as well. Serendipity is a great word. It's actually my husband's favourite word. Let me just look up the meaning of serendipity. I know what it means, but I just want to look at the actual thesaurus meaning. It means good luck in making unexpected and fortunate discoveries. Fluke, good luck, good fortune, a stroke of luck. Okay. It's interesting. It says the opposite of serendipity is a word I've never heard of before called zemblanity, meaning that it is an unlucky or unwanted but predictable event. So this is interesting. With the card of the secret, it's saying, it's a bit like the dream I shared with you. It's as though there is a stroke of luck coming, where you unlock something that's been a bit of a mystery. Now, even if it's something that you sort of already know, because I shared that dream and I already sort of know, but there was something about the way it was said and how it was conveyed and the depth of the emotion that came in via the voice, where I got it to a different level than I've got it before. And interesting, it came in a couple of days before my birthday. My birthday is the day after Mary Magdalene's feast day, 23rd. So, and of course, my story was really about birth and life and birth and incarnations and soul contracts and all of that. So maybe this is something linked into, it feels really deep for you that are watching. It feels really deep. It feels very much linked into almost like the initial wound. The wound that you carry, the really deep wound. And it's interesting that this video I'm doing for you is after my addictions video. I did 2 videos on addiction, which were difficult for some people to listen to and maybe admit to, that there is something. But over and above what was said in those videos, ultimately what addiction is it's trying to cover something up. And what it's really trying to cover up is quite a deep wound. And it might be that there's a surface wound, but beneath that is a much deeper wound, which can go right back to childhood, or it can go back to even pre-incarnation. It can be something you've brought in from a previous life that hasn't yet been healed. So it feels as though there is something here where Mary is saying, sit with me. She's saying, sit with me. Be with me on the 22nd. Be with me this month. There's something about the month of July. And it's almost as though the louder the external noise gets, the bigger the dramas that play out on the world stage, the more, I don't want to use the word easy, but in a way it sort of is. It's almost as though I'm being shown an energy of all this chaos and noise and drama, yeah, but yet lying in the middle of all of that is just this very small little key, and no one's even noticing it. But if you can quieten everything down and just look for it, it's there. It might be a word, it could be a song, it could be like I had, like a dream. It could be in meditation you receive something. It could be something that a family member says that, it's like, oh, did you never know that about Great Auntie V or whatever? Something where the penny drops. That's what I'm getting. It's like the penny drops and I suddenly get it. I suddenly understand. I suddenly realise. And it feels as though what comes with that is an energy of surrender, yes. But what also comes with surrender is an energy of acceptance. Surrender and acceptance. Now, acceptance doesn't mean we have to maybe like the thing that might have been the problem or caused the wound, but it is just an energy which takes us more towards peace. And it stops the energies of, oh, but why? But if only. Oh, I'm trying to get to this energy which I'm being shown, which is like honouring the soul. So if we go back to soul contracts and why difficult things happen to us in life, or why we have difficult relationships or anything, at a human level, absolutely, we can say, oh, well, why does that have to happen? Or what if I'd chosen a different relationship or a different situation or a different job or whatever it is? But the soul is the one that really chose it for your growth. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like this, aha, okay, I get it. Yeah, I do get it. I thought I got it before, but now I really get it. And then sitting with that, allowing that to integrate and flow through you. Serendipity, the secret. Put it this way, in a very noisy, chaotic, disordered, loud situation, do we hear the do we hear the hushed voice of whether it's Mary Magdalene, Archangel Gabriel? Mary Magdalene, she's showing me the energy of Gabriel now coming to Mother Mary. And, she's saying Gabriel came to Mary to tell her what was to occur when Mary was, quiet, sitting. She wasn't rushing around, doing whatever her jobs were of the day. It was when she was still. So we've got serendipity, we've got the secret, but I also would like to put another S word in, which is stillness. Stillness. And we also have storm. And I tell you what, I'm not making this up. It's quieter out there. It just feels quieter. But that's also true of storms, is it not? You have periods where it dies down and then it comes back up again. So there's this thing just of the flow of breath, of surrender, of discovery, of serendipity, of secrets, of surprise. She wants me to end on the energy of surprise. The energy of surprise. So she's saying, get into that state of beingness where you are at least receptive to the energy of surprise. What was that word, which is the opposite of serendipity? Zemblanity, which is a feeling of a predictable event, being unlucky or unwanted. So we need to get into the opposite of that energy. Whatever's going on in your life, and we all are a little bit guilty of this, that we can sort of track ahead, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. We can make assumptions with regards to how things might be in the future, particularly if maybe it's a difficult situation we're going through, or we've got a challenging relationship. You can project it into the future and think, oh my God, this is going to be going on forever. I don't know how I'm going to cope. Well, what about just allowing in, being receptive to a bit of luck? And you don't know what that means. You don't know how that's going to turn up. You don't know what it looks like. You don't know what it feels like. In fact, if anything, it's probably an energy you've never experienced before. Because the other side of Mary Magdalene is an energy of magic. There's definitely an energy of divine feminine magic that she brings in. And maybe that is an aspect of yourself that you have closed down. You've denied it. You've denied your own feminine magic within yourself. Women are magicians, she is saying. They are high priestesses. They have this energy within them to be that Honour that. Become that. Surrender to that. Don't deny that. Don't close the door to that. Open the door to the magic. To the serendipitous surprises and secrets. There's also something here coming in about, linked into secret and revelation. We had the card of revelation, didn't we? In terms of soul contract. Why you came. Why you came. Let me just feel into that. Why you came. You feel into that. Why you came. Okay? You feel into that. Let's just have a moment together in terms of why did we come. Feel into the energy of your soul. Feel into the energy of your magic. Feel into the energy of your higher self. Call your name to yourself. Call your name. Call your name. Call your name. Why did you come? And Mary is saying, whether you consciously know or not, you will be reminded. It's not about being shown, it's about being reminded. If you're open to it, if you're receptive to it, without wanting to control it, just open up the doors and allow energy to show itself to you over the coming days. But she said, do you also think that the divine, the grand orchestrator energy, would allow you to completely script the whole show? She says, in any great show, meaning life, there is always the odd surprise, is there not? There is always the odd unscripted moment. Allow that in. Allow that in. Let's write this new chapter together. Let's smile. Let's smile. Too much frowning, too much worrying. Feel how your body changes when you frown and when you smile. Keep smiling. Keep loving. Keep aligned. Keep focused. I am here within you. I always have been. Take my lantern. I am here and I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you, everybody. I think we'll end just by showing a couple of beautiful things, because there's something here with Mary Magdalene also about beauty. This is a beautiful rose quartz flame. Feel into the energy of that, being sent into your heart energy now. Feel for a message. Become one with that. Become one with the pink flame. And then I also want to show you the candle. Mary's light. Keep your flame burning. Keep the fire burning. Lots of love, everybody. Take great care. honour yourself, honour Mary this July, and always, really. Thanks very much. If you like the video, give it a like, share it, get it out there. Thank you. Bye-bye for now. Bye.